What's up, everybody? We got something special for you this week. Trash all that. Rowdy in the Piff. Nobody knows what the fuck is going on. Developing some type of weather weapon.
You know, almost like sexual asphyxia, like...
Rowdy in the Piff.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Rowdy in the Piff, episode number 12, and I don't even have to say it. But you already know that we are really out here. My name is Rowdy, also known as the Goose. With me today as Flawways, the Goat, also known as the Piff. What's up?
I'm Piff, also known as the Goat. What's up?
Piff, also known as the Goat. What's up? So, man, last week, and I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I don't know, maybe you have to be nerdy as shit, but it doesn't fucking matter. You know, we talk about what we're interested in, and that was one of my favorite episodes, just in general, because it was interesting to me. A lot of the shit we talked about got my brain moving. I was like, oh man, what if this and that's this, a goose a goo, and that's what it's really all about, man. To get you thinking about stuff, and to get you, you know, to get your brain really just open your mind and really think about what could be possibly out there, because we don't know shit. You know, we talked about the ocean, how it's unexplored. We don't know shit about that, man. We know less about what the fuck's down there than in space, is what we talked about. If you don't know what we discussed in the previous episode, definitely go check it out. Like I said, it's one of my favorite episodes. But since we had so much fun with that one, we're thinking about just kind of sticking on the same trend and kind of exploring that a little bit more, because there's, like I said, it's unexplored, so we can dig a lot deeper.
Let's dig.
Let's dig.
Yeah,
So-
last week we talked about fucking oceans and, right?
Yeah,
We
dude,
talked
fuck.
about a lot of different things, but like we started to talk about oceans at the end of the episode, where we were discussing like, okay, we know a lot of it hasn't been explored. What kind of crazy things are going on down there in the places that we haven't been? It's deep as shit. It's kind of, just unknown. Like, and we didn't really, go into it that much further than that. We didn't go into it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but like the ocean, just only like 5 to 7% of it has been explored.
Right.
The ocean floor. So, yeah, so there's so much to explore, and we just kind of talked about setting up, is it possible to live in the ocean? What's going on down there and whatnot. So
We really talked about that shit. We talked about it more along the lines of like how to explore it. Would we prefer to explore it rather than explore space, and what are the logistics of it? And we came to the conclusion that we don't really know. We're not fucking scientists. We're not engineers. We don't know the type of thing you would have to construct to be able to go down into the ocean. I suggested something that wasn't really like a capsule or anything, but maybe something that was made in the same material as like a jellyfish that just kind of patrolled the ocean and looked at shit and sent information back to us, and we could go from there. But I think today we're gonna talk a little bit more about what might be down there. What is left unexplored. What are some of the things in history and some of the theories out there revolving around this type of thing,
Right. Yeah. And so I looked into it a little bit further. I wanted to read up on some stuff because it was interesting. And then it got me wanting to learn more about the ocean. And so there are some things we do know, like, that surprised me. I didn't know. There's 20 million tons of gold in the ocean right now. And scientists know that. But it's hard to get to because it's like in really deep places and it's kind of in the rock. So, but 20 million
Right.
tons of gold are just laying in the ocean. There's also mountains in the ocean that are bigger and longer than like our 4 biggest mountains here on the surface. There's a range in
Right.
the Atlantic that goes 40,000 miles. Like, and it's like 4
Jesus.
times the size of Mount Everest, the Andes, and like the Himalayas.
40,000 miles. The Earth is only like 25,000 miles around.
Yeah.
How the fuck does it go 40,000
I
miles?
mean, yeah, 40,000 miles. Like, that's just ridiculous. There's fucking...
Wait, but how's that possible? The Earth is only 25,000 miles around.
Hold on. Yeah. Stretches for 40,000 miles. It's called the Mid-Ocean Ridge. Rises above the ocean surface in a few places, like around Iceland, but it's 4 times longer than the Himalayas, the Andes, and the Rocky Mountains combined. It stretches 40,000 miles. So it might go kind of sideways, kind of
You'd
up.
have to go around the world almost twice.
Oh, that's real.
Because see let's see. The Earth is not quite a sphere. The planet's rotation causes it to blah da 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 da. Earth's polar radius do. The meridional circumference. So the circumference of the Earth around the meridian is only 24,812 miles around. So I don't understand.
I don't either. Like, I guess I'd have to look at it. No.
Like if you went from the top of the Earth, or like the very east side of the Earth, and went around the entire Earth, it's 24,000 miles. So how could a mountain range in the ocean possibly span 40,000 miles? Because there's land in the way. Like it'd have to go around. It'd have to wrap around like the entire world almost twice, and it would definitely have to run into land. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense.
But yeah. I don't see much on it. Just it goes 40,000. It says it stretches 40,000 miles. I don't know how. If what you're saying is right, I don't know.
Maybe it like curves and winds, and I guess yeah.
Right, because when they say like if you cut your digestive tracts out or your bowels or whatever and stretched them out, they'd be like a mile or two. Isn't that true? Yeah, so and that doesn't make any fucking sense. So that's fine that this doesn't either.
Yeah, I guess so. Like if you think about it, it doesn't have to go in a straight line. So if it like goes and then it turns around and goes this other way and winds and weaves, yeah, I guess it could potentially go span 40,000 miles, easily. So last week, and it's kind of funny how these two things tie together. Last week we were talking about. And this was completely different from the whole ocean aspect of things, but we were talking about mythological creatures and mermaids and giants and all that stuff. And the funny thing is when I was looking into, exploration of Earth, of course, Hollow Earth theory pops up. And, you start thinking about that, and a lot of the I don't want to call them facts, but a lot of the historical documentations and theories and lore that comes from that, the Hollow Earth theory is derived from, a lot of these places and a lot of these different sources talk about giants in the inner underworld. The inner world, there's a world inside of the Earth, because in this theory the Earth is hollow, and there's documentation of people talking about, going down there through secret tunnels and secret passages, and there's giants that live there that are quote unquote easily 12 to 15 feet tall, and they're kind and they're gentle giants out there. But it's funny that we were talking about giants and whether or not they existed, and maybe they exist in the past and whatever the case may be. But I came across that's like an ongoing thing with the Hollow Earth theory, is that there's giants inside of the Earth. Wow. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, it kind of all goes together, because if you start exploring the ocean deep and you start exploring other things, and then you find giants and mythological beasts or whatnot, yeah, it kind of all goes together. We were talking a little bit about resources too. Like, if the world was coming to an end, and we'd have to terraform Earth first before we really think about terraforming Mars, and just like what resources would be available to us in the ocean and or just in the Earth. And right now scientists are drilling in the ocean because there's a mineral there that can make the internet like 10,000 times faster, and because it's going to use, instead of using like electricity, it's going to use light. So it's going to go at the speed of light. And there's a mineral, and it's only been found deep in the Earth, like in the ocean and whatnot. It's got a really weird name. Perovskite. Perovskite? I don't know. I'm not going to try to. I shouldn't have tried to pronounce it. But basically, it uses a different spectrum, and it uses terahertz, and it's like that's in between. It's the bandwidth in between like radio waves and shit like that. Up to 1,000 times faster. So not 10,000, 1,000.
Damn. Hell yeah, man. Get me on that. I'll be grinding Call of Duty on that shit, bro. I'll be fucking poning noobs on that shit. That's crazy.
That could be something that happens in the next, 20 years. That could be our next advancement in communications. Just everything faster, like 1,000 times.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. Like all these discoveries and things that come from just finding like a mineral, and there's something new inside of it. So speaking of minerals, I was, doing some research. I was getting deep into like the Hollow Earth theory and stuff like that. But aside from that, there's been discoveries of like diamonds that came from like deep within the earth. And there was one that they found that had some type of element in it that is only made in water. So they deduced that wherever this came from had to have water. And there's theories and there's been quote unquote discoveries that there's a huge tank of water within the earth that supposedly could fill up our known ocean up to 3 times. Like there's so much water within the earth. And it's a recent thing, and it's it's not proven or anything like that, but it's changing some of the ideas that we thought the water cycle was started because meteorites, ice comets or whatever, like hit Earth and melted, and like that's kind of where the water came from. But they're starting to think that possibly the water cycle is different than what we think, and it came actually from the Earth itself, from within the Earth.
Dude, that'd be crazy. Yeah, I kind of got us off track a little bit because we were talking about Hollow Earth, and I started in on minerals, but it goes together. It just kind of all goes together.
Yeah, it all goes together.
The Hollow Earth thing started back in like the 17th century when the guy who saw the comet, Halley's Comet, that same dude, Halley or whatever, he had the theory that the Earth was hollow. And so he studied up on it, and then it kind of disappeared until like the 18th century, and then more scientists came out and were like, yeah, we're going down there and this and that. And then as time wore on, then Jules Verne wrote The Journey to the Center of the Earth, and it kind of became a science fiction thing. And it's just, today it's not that popular of a theory when you compare it to like flat Earth. And the theories in flat Earth. Flat Earthers are going nuts right now. And they make fun of Hollow Earthers, and Hollow Earthers make fun of Flat Earthers.
Yeah, but the difference, in my opinion, is Flat Earthers, if you really look at it and all the things that they have to say, they don't have any real evidence. Whereas Hollow Earth, I'm not saying that it's real evidence, but I'm saying that there's a lot more out there for the Hollow Earth theory that makes a lot more sense than anything the Flat Earthers have to say. And there's also in 1947, the Admiral Richard E. Byrd supposedly flew into the center of the Earth and went and like saw lakes and rivers and vegetation and animals and saw big animals like the woolly mammoth and found a thriving civilization. Somebody came and greeted him in a flying machine, and he went and like hung out with them, the rulers. And it's Agartha is what the city or the civilization at the center of the Earth or in the Hollow Earth is called Agartha.
You're talking about
it's like an ongoing thing.
Yeah, he flew through the poles. Like this was like the World War II, right? Like around World War II or something like that. Yeah,
so he flew. He was trying to fly over the poles, but what ended up happening was he flew down inside the Earth because when you're flying a plane, you're kind of going. You're high up, but you're going with like the ground at the at a certain elevation. So supposedly what happens is, instead of it going the Earth going to like the central point at the top and there just being a hole, it starts to flatten out and kind of concave down. So he was following that and ended up going into the center of the Earth and then, finding all of this stuff. Supposedly, of course.
Yeah, no, that's ridiculous, and it kind of goes with, and there's a magnetism thing. That's where the initial theory came from, because Halley had kind of used a compass, a different thing. He realized that the magnetism got all screwed up, and he thought that the magnetism got screwed up because there was layers to the Earth, and the inner Earth's magnetism was playing with that. Like the gravity within the Earth was playing with the gravity on this side of the Earth, and that's another interesting theory. When you start thinking about magnetism and what's going on in the inner Earth, you were talking about like a tank of water, like another water tablet. There's people that think there's another sun inside the Earth, and that the aurora borealis is quite simply just those sun rays from the inner Earth coming onto our surface.
Well, that makes sense because you typically only see them, near the North and South Pole.
Up north. Yeah, right. So, I mean, that's an interesting theory when you think about it. Like, whoa, what if I told you heaven and hell just existed within our own planet?
Yeah, and going back to the whole compass thing, it's also kind of along the lines of the fact that where the North Pole and the South Pole is supposed to be doesn't actually exist because, like I said, it flattens out and goes concave. So in order to get to where you think it's supposed to be, that doesn't exist. It's open space because the Earth in this situation isn't a sphere. It flattens out at the top and bottom. So you no matter how hard you try, you can't actually get to what we think the North and South Pole is because it doesn't exist.
The hollow Earth theory is just way more interesting to me than the flat Earth theory, because the hollow Earth theory includes like there's people that think dinosaurs are down there. There's people that think civilizations that were created from explorers just getting lost down there. Reptilians that actually control this planet from within the planet, and that they have all this technology, and that UFOs are just coming from inside the Earth. They're not from other planets. They're just coming from inside the Earth, and the technology down there is far advanced, and it would make sense if they did get a hold of some of these minerals that we haven't gotten yet, that are in the Earth, that I just talked about, that make internet 1,000 times faster because it's using the speed of light rather than radio waves. We're on that old shit, and this would be brand new shit. You know what I mean?
And it's thought too that a lot of the civilization that's down there are kind of like gods compared to us, and it dates back further than what you said. Like Buddhists and Hindu, they believe in this type of thing, and like it's been documented for a long time. Like the Egyptians, supposedly there was like a secret underground tunnel that led to Agartha. Agartha's like a heavily talked about topic throughout history, supposedly. But yeah, I mean, because I guess they're not exposed to like our sun's rays and everything crazy that's happening on the surface. Supposedly that's why they can be 12 to 15 feet tall and they live like up to 1,000 years. So they got plenty of time to pass us in technology.
Yeah, and just control us if they wanted to. Here's some of the Here are some of the theories with the inner Earth. The universe itself lies in the interior of the hollow world. That's the theory. The Earth is hollow with an inner sun and a more advanced civilization than ours within different layers. Some of the inner Earth people are aware of the Earth's outer surface and others are not. There's 3 openings in the inner Earth, apparently 2 near the poles and 1 in the Himalayas. The aurora borealis is really sunlight from the inner sun. Global warming is really caused by the Earth's inner sun. The reptilians have indoctrinated you so thoroughly that you probably are too weak-minded to even fathom that they exist, and that humans were created by them via genetic experiments that were conducted by reptilians. These reptilian aliens, also known as the reptilians, still rule the Derth to this day. You know what I mean?
The Derth.
So those are all the like interesting theories with the hollow Earth. Bro. It's crazy. All kinds of shit.
Yeah, I mean, and I listened to the other day a YouTube video, one of those shitty ones that because that's all there is on these theories. If you're trying to find like a documentary about it, it's gonna be some like 45-minute long shitty YouTube video where they don't even talk themselves. They just type it out and then have a computer read it. His plane was completed by flying machines that had never been seen before. And it just like has talking errors because it doesn't know how to say shit, and they do typos. But I listened to that whole thing, man, and I heard all the shit that these people are talking about, man. I feel like there's a lot more hollow Earth believers out there for sure than there are flat earthers. I feel like most of the flat earthers are trolls.
I wish we could take all the money that's going into like flat Earth research and just put it into the hollow Earth research, because I think it'd be time better spent. At least we might find minerals. At least you might find something going deep. And we've only, I think it's the distance is like 12,000 kilometers, and we've only been like 12. We've only been 12 kilometers deep into the Earth, but it goes 12,000 kilometers.
Yeah, I think we've been like 8 miles or some shit like that. You're talking kilometers like we're not in fucking America.
Well, they, all the articles talk kilometers. So yeah, figure 8 miles, figure 9 miles, something like that. But that's not far when you think there's 12,000. There's 12,000.
I mean, I can throw a rock 8 miles, so.
Dude, I could I could piss 8 miles.
I could sling my dick 8 miles.
Dude. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
bro.
But there's people that take trips they're trying to like plan trips to go to the center of the earth, and so it's like $20,000 if you want to come to the center of the earth with us. And a lot of the times the trips fail or whatever, but I'd go on a trip. I'd go down there and I'd pack like, all the survival shit that I think I would need, and I might never come back if I find like a civilization down there that's got like way faster internet and flying machines and everything. Like I might not come back.
Dude, maybe that's maybe that's where Amelia Earhart went. Bro. Holy shit, man. She vanished and shit. Maybe she flew into because I mean, it's not just the North and South Pole. There's supposedly tunnels and entryways, all over the place. Maybe she flew into some of that shit.
Yeah. The only three that I've come across were the poles and the Himalayas, but then there was like a show on Coast to Coast a while back. It was called like Mel's Hole, and it was a dude in Washington that just had a huge hole in his backyard, and he just kept throwing things in the hole, and it just disappeared, and it never filled up.
Cows, Jesus.
Just fucking cows, refrigerators, tires, just over, and he never heard a sound. He'd just drop it, and he wouldn't hear a sound, and I guess he tried to like take fishing line and measure it out, and he just couldn't. It just never got to the bottom. Damn. And then the government shut it down, and so, yeah. I mean, good luck trying to get to the center of the earth. They don't want you to know that. If they know that, they don't want you to know.
Especially if they're gods, because supposedly like the ruler of Agartha is like the king of the world. So the people that are in power on the surface of the earth definitely don't want anyone to know that there's a king of the world. That's for sure. But supposedly this king of the world was like, sending messages through like.
Yeah.
Through like llamas to the Dalai Lama or whatever the fuck, and all this shit, man. Like, it's crazy, man. There was like people guarding the shit, and like, man.
It's fucking throwing them DMs out there. He's just like sliding in the DMs on Twitter. I'm the king of the world. He's like LeBron James when he goes to the Garden. He's like, you're welcome. I'm the king of the world. He's just like tweeting it. Nobody's following him though.
Yeah, but no, I mean that's one of the things that I read is like the Dalai Lama was like the messenger boy for the king of Agartha for the terrestrial plane. Like, it's who he talked to figure out what's going on up here and keep tabs on everything. And there's theories stating that there's some like supernatural beings down there that basically come up every once in a while to oversee and make sure we're not completely fucking up and all that shit,
Yeah, well, we're fucking up.
Yeah.
So, somebody might want to come up here and like fucking start handling some shit. But that does make a little bit of sense because I was just saying like one of the openings is supposed to be in the Himalayas, which is like close to the Dalai Lama, right? So that would make sense just, location wise.
Yeah, man. Look, dude, think about this. I just thought of this. So I read, and I don't want anyone listening to think that I believe in any of this shit. I'm just talking about hypothetical shit, keeping an open mind and just like talking about what's out there. So I read some shit about how after we dropped the bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the people down there in in Agartha, I'm just going to call it that from now on, got nervous because we're fucking dropping huge ass bombs and it could threaten like their survival and anyone else's survival. So maybe they came up and like, hey, don't fucking do that. And that's the reason why there's pretty much a ban on using any type of, weapons of mass destruction like that. And man, North Korea's fucking up, man. Agartha's going to swallow them. They're just going to, all of a sudden, North Korea is just going to get dropped into the earth.
Dude, that'd be nuts. I guess I picture them as like luminous beings. Like, I bet you, like, when you see them, they're, like, glowing and shit, and they look like Poseidon. They have, like, long hair, and fucking they're super muscular and, like, way bigger than us.
They're just, like, 12 to 15 feet tall, 1,000 years old.
Jeez, dude, that's crazy. Like,
hell yeah, man.
Yeah, we're fucking peons up here. We don't know what we're doing. They're just, like,
they probably all look
us.
Like Jason Momoa.
Dude, that's what I picture. I picture, like, everybody looks like him, but they're, like, 10 feet, 12 feet tall. They can bench press trucks and shit. But Yeah, no, I don't know, man. I don't know. I just know that we could just be an experiment for them to try things out to see if it fucking works up here, so that they know what they're doing down there. You know.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, that's. Oh man, I don't know if I'm ever gonna get over this. I've been fucking nursing this bitch ass cough for like 2 fucking weeks. Anyways, regardless of any of the theories that I believe in when it comes to aliens or extraterrestrial or whatever the fuck it is, I'm almost 100% sure that the humans as we know them today are just some sort of fucking experiment. Not the humans that used to exist, you know, like when we first became Homo erectus like 250,000 years ago. I'm talking about the ones that have been, you know, hanging out for the past, 5,000 years.
I've got a Homo erectus right now.
Hey. Yeah, but no, for sure. Like, to me, one of the craziest things in history is if you think about this, if 250,000 years ago, and that's basically as far back as we think that the, humans, the species that we are now, came into existence, you go hundreds of thousands of years, like 155,000 years. No, 155,800 years without having anything more than fire and maybe, some stone weapons and the wheel possibly. And then now we have the internet and cell phones and all this shit. The technological advances within this short amount of time is absurd. And it almost makes zero sense. It makes no sense that there wasn't some type of intervention from somebody. Introducing something or showing somebody something. It happened too fast, man. It happened too fucking fast with so long of us doing jack shit. Then all of a sudden we're fucking going to space and we've got iPhones that, we can talk to anybody in the world and all this technology, man. So one of the things that I believe is there was some type of something that happened where technology was introduced or something was introduced to our gene pool to make us have the ability to come up with this technology.
Yeah. Sometimes I wonder, like, going from the 80s to now, like, I also feel like we should be even more advanced than we are. But I kind of tend to think that the government shut down a lot of things. Like Tesla was doing a lot of stuff early on that we kind of shut down. Like when it comes to papers and textiles and everything like that, cannabis and just hemp in general could have been used for a lot of different, things, but it got shut down because of the corporations that were, not using hemp. They didn't want to lose their money.
Yeah. And I mean, the government guaranteed is light years ahead of what we know when it comes to technology, I'm sure. But even, I mean, you're talking about the past, 30 years or 100 years. I'm talking about before fucking governments, man. The hundreds of thousands of years that passed where we didn't do jack shit. And the last, let's say 2,000 years. That's literally just a speck of time compared to how long we've been around. And the technology and advancements and intellect. Even just like the written word and the spoken languages and all these different things, it's insane.
Yeah, it's hard.
The level of advancement that took place in such a short amount of time.
It's hard to believe that it was just organic, that something wasn't introduced, like you said, just like it was just, that it just evolved that way. It's hard to believe because the pyramids, again, all that.
Yeah, and I understand, like, the evolutionary aspect of it where we're not apex predators, so we need to use our brains. We built shelters to protect ourselves from bears and wolves and saber-toothed tigers or whatever the fuck, I understand that process, and that makes sense. Throughout the years, we're going to get more intelligent in order to protect ourselves because we're just a pathetic, useless, weak sack of blood and flesh that can easily be destroyed by pretty much any animal that's out there. That makes sense, but the time frame doesn't make sense. It's too much, too fast.
Yeah, we're not doing shit, and they're down there in the inner earth dicking all kinds of broads with photon penises. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah, bro. Hell
Partying
yeah,
off
bro.
of that glow water. You know? Maybe that's what rap water is. Maybe the rappers heard about the inner earth water and they're like, yo, there's this glow water. We're going to call it rap water.
Water.
You know what I mean? But yeah, no, the inner earth theories are way more interesting than the flat earth theories. And the ocean hasn't even been tapped. We haven't even barely put the tip in. So the ocean, blue, the fucking hollow earth. There's so many things within earth. There's minerals we haven't found yet. There's 20 million tons of gold. Who's going to get it? I want some. And there's just so many things that are interesting that you know, way better than flat earth. Way better than fucking other shit.
Yeah, bro, just give me a pound of that gold.
Yeah.
I'll be good.
Just give me a couple handfuls.
That's it. That's all I want.
Just put a couple handfuls.
No, and you're right, man. You're right. Like the flat earth theory, not only is the whole concept of it boring, but the reasoning and what might be behind it and this and that is all dumb. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't lead anywhere. It doesn't mean anything. Like the hollow earth theory, if there could be a whole, I mean, unless it's a flat earth that I've seen a picture of where it's a flat plane sitting on the back of a giant turtle flying upwards into oblivion, that would be kind of interesting, but that's retarded. So no. But you know, the hollow earth theory just has so much more to offer, and it has so much more. It has so much history dating back to fucking ancient Egypt and probably further back. People talking about, you know, the underworld, and they talk about how when they talked about the underworld and how, you know, it was probably just like a bunch of souls. They think that that was just kind of like, you know, metaphors and exaggerations and lore, but they really believed and maybe had contact with, you know, beings and a different plane of existence, you know, within the earth. And that's way more interesting than flat earth garbage.
Yeah, I want to start hearing like real theories, like how Joel Embiid is actually a fucking inner earth guy, because he's fucking huge. He's like 7 foot tall, 260 pounds. He's hitting threes. He's just yamming on everybody. It's crazy. LeBron's probably inner earth. If you were gonna put a team together of fucking people to go down to inner earth and like represent us, who would you have? Like, do you have a couple people in mind? Probably Jason Momoa, right? You send him down there
Jason
and be like,
Momoa,
this is the best.
you know, you gotta have LeBron James. Everyone thinks he's a bitch because he flops all the time, but you know that's basketball. You gotta do what you gotta do to get what you gotta get. But I mean, he's fucking, what is he, 6'8", 250? Yeah. Beast, man. He's a huge beast.
Send him. Send Joel Embiid, because he's the fucking future. Then send Jason Momoa. Who else we got? Who's the best of the best? We want the best looking fucking dudes. Blake Shelton. You know what I mean?
You got. Oh, I was gonna get into that, but no, you gotta send Hugh Jackman, bro. You gotta send Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman. But we're just sending Hollywood and sports stars. What is there a fucking like science dude we need to send? Probably Neil deGrasse.
Neil deGrasse Tyson, dude, for sure. Hell yeah, Neil deGrasse Tyson. I mean, Bill Nye if you want to, but he's not. He's an engineer. He's not even a scientist.
And females.
Mila Kunis, send her out.
Right.
Hell yeah.
Because then if they get stuck down there, you'd want to start a civilization again with like LeBron and Mila Kunis.
Dude, fuck that. Jason Momoa and Mila Kunis babies.
Whoa.
Dude, can you imagine how much of a, like, dude, Jesus. Those kids are on another level, man. Those kids are on
another level. What is she doing
level.
with like Ashton Kutcher? That doesn't make much sense.
It doesn't, but I mean, it's, you know, it's that 70s show shit. It's fine. It's what needed to happen.
Yeah, no, but you know, no matter how cool Inner Earth is, or how cool it may seem, it would be hard to replicate some of the things that we do up here. Because they don't have any idea how fucking filthy we can get on Twitter, and just, you know, how dirty we are. We're just like kind of some dirty fucking beings, you know what I mean? We're little savages up here.
Yeah, and
I look over fucking everything, dude. We're savages.
And that could be a lot to do with, like, if you're out there and you're living 1,000 years under the earth, you don't give a fuck about this bullshit. This is just a blip in your timeline. We're out here living 75 years if we're lucky and shit. And so we gotta leave our mark where we can. So we got all these idiots out here being stupid on the internet. But if I lived 1,000 years, dude, I'm not on Twitter. I'm nowhere, dude. I don't have a job. Live 1,000 years? Fuck.
you're just a wanderer. Well, population control. Somebody's got to control the population, so they cap us at 75. And some people get 80 to 90. It just depends, but they're capping us. I think they're capping us, and I think we can survive much longer than that. But they're not giving us cures to shit because they need to control the population. They're not giving us answers. You can't Google fucking medicine. You just, what does that mean? I don't know. But they're capping us. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. But man, yeah, that's some crazy shit. The Hollow Earth theories. I mean, if you guys haven't heard anything about the Hollow Earth theories, we probably did a shit job at explaining any of it. But I don't usually condone. Actually, no, I do. It doesn't matter what the theory is. Find the best shitty documentary you can on YouTube and just listen to it. Regardless of whether it's bullshit or it's the stupidest thing you've ever heard, it's important to see what people are out here talking about and thinking about, because I guarantee you they are. I mean, the YouTube video I watched today on the Hollow Earth theory had 4.1 million views, man. There's people out here caring about that shit, but
yeah, you know, they're interested.
Take a look at that. That's what's happening down inside the Earth. But you mentioned Blake Shelton, and I kind of want to talk about that. Let's go back to our petty bullshit on the surface of the Earth and how everybody is pissed off that Blake Shelton got nominated the sexiest man alive.
Yeah. Because did everyone else die?
That's like the main comment I saw. Did everyone else die? And here's the thing. If you look back through People magazine, barring, of course, like people like George Clooney and Brad Pitt, it's usually just who's hot right now, you know, who's popular right now in Hollywood. But that's what makes even less sense, because he's on The Voice, but I don't really think he's that relevant right now. So why is Blake Shelton the sexiest man alive? You know, what the fuck's going on there?
Pause. How could you ever not give The Rock sexiest man alive every fucking year? Pause.
And I that's true, but also, man, I'm gonna bring his name back up. Fucking Jason Momoa, bro. Are you kidding me right now? He's not only is he super popular, and you know, granted, The Rock is probably one of the most popular Hollywood actors within the past couple of years, but Jason Momoa is on the scene. He's giant and fucking jacked, and he's a good actor, man, and he's relevant as shit.
Pause. Yeah, no, fucking Blake Shelton's like a Division III school. Like, he's not, like, I don't understand where he came into the mix. There must have been a good amount of money dropped for him to be the sexiest man alive. I don't understand it. I'm sure he's a fucking whatever. I don't care.
Yeah, and I mean, it's all fine. I don't really give a shit. Like, let him have it. I like Blake Shelton. I don't have a problem with Blake Shelton.
I know you like him.
He's cool, man. He's fine. He's dope. I've liked Blake Shelton for a long time, ever since figured she'd gone back to Austin. I was fucking on that Blake Shelton tip.
Yeah. Well, I don't care that much about Blake Shelton, but yeah, I do think there was fucking discrepancies in this People magazine article, and I'll never read a People magazine article again.
I don't think I ever have, to be honest with you. But I mean, it is like he's not that relevant right now. He's dating someone who's also not relevant besides on The Voice or whatever. I don't even know who's on The Voice anymore. But it is what it is, man.
Miley Cyrus, dude. Miley Cyrus is on The Voice. The fucking, she's best known for pissing in public.
Damn, dude.
You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
But yeah, no, Blake Shelton, sexiest man alive. So that's what it is in 2017.
That's what it is, man. That's what it is.
Deal with it. Yeah.
What else is going on? You know, I don't even want to talk about it. There's all this bullshit still coming out. All these fucking Hollywood guys doing dumb shit.
Well, like, look, dude, Twitter is filthy today. It's just so bad. It's just so boring. Here are some of the trends. Kim Kardashian drinks a sardine smoothie to avoid selling out her sister. So Kim Kardashian drinks a fucking sardine smoothie. Another radio host was fucking doing something he's not supposed to. Chance the Rapper just wants to hang out with Drake more. I don't know what that's all about.
I saw that tweet.
People are mad at Johnny Depp, and then fucking urban myths about eating spiders. So it's like a really slow day. And then Lil Peep died, and a lot of people are wondering who is Lil Peep. And Lil Peep is this SoundCloud rapper, emo rapper that a lot of people thought had huge potential to be, you know, a next generation rapper and whatnot. I've never heard his music. I don't really know who he is, but he overdosed. And so R.I.P. And then, yeah, so that's pretty much the trend, dude. That's pretty much the trend of the shit. And that's pretty
That's it, man.
stupid.
That's one of the things, too. You know, if you guys have been with us since the beginning, you know that we used to have, I can't believe they tweet that. And see, I don't even remember the jingle. But, you know, we may bring that back once shit gets popping off a little bit. But, man, right now, just in the world, like, the things that are trending and the things that are important are either, like, repetitive, you know, with all this bullshit after the Harvey Weinstein thing, not taking anything away from that, like, good thing, it's good, all these fucks getting exposed and shit, but you can't really keep talking about it on a podcast, you know, and we don't want to really get into that shit. Yeah. Everything's either worthless or just the same shit over and over, so we talk about the hollow earth, man. We talk about the ocean, we talk about space, you know, we talk about all that good shit, you know, all that crazy shit to get your mind off of the real world.
This just in, Yeezys are trash.
No, yeah, of course. You know that I know that.
LeBrons are filth, they're trash.
This just in, Yeezys are trash and LeBron Ashes are dope. And if you're going to buy the shoes that The Rock made in white, you're a dad. That's for you, Sibo. Y'all don't know who Sibo is, maybe one day.
This just in, New Balance are petos, 2000s. Only pedos and dads wear them. Don't wear New Balance. This just in, Asics, if you're not wrestling in high school,
true.
Stop wearing, if you're not running marathons, stop wearing them. This just in, track pants are only for Euro trash people. Don't wear track pants.
Those are the only Asics those are the only Asics I ever owned, man. The only Asics I ever owned, my wrestling shoes. We started off with some pretty heavy shit, man. You guys need to look into the Hollow Earth theories. You know what? This is the advice that I'll give you in life, all right? Every theory that exists in the history of time, you should look into it, you know? Look into it. And it's not look into it because it may be true, but you need to see what the mindsets out there are, and you need to just get informed about what people are thinking, because a lot of the things that people are thinking, you know, either they don't make a lot of sense or maybe they do. Maybe they do make sense to you, and it'll change your world. So look into the Hollow Earth. Go ahead and look into Flat Earth if you want. But, you know, look into giants. You know, there's giants in there. Look into all that shit, man. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. We talked about Hollow Earth and Blake Shelton and Yeezys. We always got a wide variety for you guys out here, but thank you so much for listening. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you have any questions, concerns, gripes, or grapes, you can hit us up on Twitter at RowdyPiffPod. You can email us, rowdypiffpod@gmail.com. Check us out on the website, rowdyandthepiff.com. We got, of course, our podcasts. We got some other good shit up there. I'm not going to spoil it, but there's some good shit, so go check it out. We're on Stitcher. We're on Google Play. We're on fucking the podcast app. We're on YouTube. So rate and review wherever you're at. You know, like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Send us a comment. Send us your questions. We want to hear from you. We need some reviews. We need some feedback. So give us that. But other than that, thanks for listening. Stay tuned for Thursday. We'll have the Piff doing Piff on the Blitz, talking about the NFL, the Hoocha-Hazits and Whatcha-Madoozits. And that's always some good information for you. So until next time, catch you on the Goosity Poop.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
What's up, everybody? We got something special for you this week. Trash all that. Rowdy and the Piff. Nobody knows what the fuck is going on. Developing some type of weather weapon.
You know, almost like sexual asphyxia, like...
Rowdy and the Piff.